Just want to start with the story that the government has just changed the quarantine rules on Spain. A reminder, really, about how quickly things can change in the pandemic. Is it sensible for people to be booking foreign holidays?
Well, I mean, it'll be up to people to decide if this is the right time for them to do that. I'm supportive of what the government's done. If they're following the science, we're all here to protect each other and save lives. And if that's what they've had to do, that's what they've had to do. But I think there is a broader concern here about the general strategy that the government has been employing over the last few weeks. We saw the Prime Minister just this week suggest that mistakes were made. And that's why I'm leading this cross-party group of MPs. We're running a rapid inquiry into coronavirus right through recess so that we can learn the lessons that we need to before a potential second wave.
Yeah, that's the key thing, I guess, isn't it? Trying to get the country prepared for what may be coming down the line in the autumn and winter months when the NHS is already under more pressure. From what you've heard in the inquiry, do you think that we are ready yet?
Well, we don't know. We've just started. We constituted a couple of weeks ago. We've now got over 50 MPs and peers from all across the House, including Conservative MPs. And we've had written submissions in so far, over 1,000 of them, in fact. The vast majority have come from individuals who are suffering from long-lasting effects of coronavirus. They call it long COVID. So they've had coronavirus and it continues to blight their lives on a daily basis. The other big group that's written in on an individual basis are bereaved families who, tragically one of their own has passed away. And I'm really concerned about the mental health support around them. They don't feel that their voices have been heard. And this is going to be a way for them to have that outlet. But there's also been well over 20 professional bodies that have written in. And there have been some really striking pieces of evidence, one from Age UK, for example, that said that older people in receipt of care in care homes especially have been catastrophically let down and many have died before their time. That's what we're here to try and avoid, is that before this second wave, those mistakes are understood. And the big question, the one that we're starting with, we're going to be having, by the way, live streaming of our evidence sessions that start on Wednesday. We want this to be completely transparent, and if people want to watch in, they should be able to. And the first question we need to answer is, what is the government's overall strategy? We've seen other countries, including in the United Kingdom, say that they are aiming for what's termed zero COVID, zero transmission in the community of coronavirus. And they've done that through putting things in place like a proper test and trace system that works from start to finish, social distancing and clamping down on things like that earlier. We have not heard from Boris Johnson if that is what he is aiming for in England and the whole of the United Kingdom. And that is one of the big questions, because if we aren't aiming for zero COVID before the autumn, then what do we need to do to make sure that the NHS is prepared? So we've just started. We are going to release recommendations as we go with a full report that will then sum all of that up by the end of September. But our view is that we cannot wait.
OK, thank you for the run-through of what the inquiry is hoping to achieve. Now, before we came on in the introduction, I think we really, laid out the challenge ahead for the Liberal Democrats. You, of course, running to be leader of your party. Lots changed since you announced your bid on the show a few months ago. Is the survival of the Liberal Democrats at stake here?
Well, I think that's possible. And I think actually we need revived liberalism in this country, which is the core part of my pitch. It's now been 3 general elections in a row. We're bumping along at 6% in the polls. Change has never been more necessary. In fact, it's essential for the survival of our party. And what I want to do as leader is to reverse that decline. And it starts by actually having a bold, progressive, liberal agenda that we can show the country. And actually coronavirus, as awful as the circumstances are, actually shows us that there should be and could be another way in this country. It's exposed the inequalities that we see before our very eyes, and the civil liberties of the individual, the freedom of us all, has come under some strain. Now is the time for a revived Liberal Democrat Party, and that's very much central to my pitch.
OK. OK, I'm trying to answer the question, I guess, a lot of people probably have, which is, what are the Lib Dems about? What's the point of them? What do they stand for? Now, you suggested last month that you wanted to move the Lib Dems to the left. You said, I want us to be seen as more radical than Labour. The manifesto you're publishing today calls for things like a universal basic income. But then earlier this month, you said, I don't want us to be on the left of Labour. So I'm a bit confused. Do you want the Lib Dems to be a more left-wing party or not?
I want us to be more radical. So when I said more radical than Labour, that was not left. It was radical liberalism. And I think that's what I found interesting about the conversations around this, is that actually that left-right axis doesn't work when you think about liberalism. On the one hand, we have a strong commitment to public services because you need, as an individual, the security to live life as you choose. And that's why we talk about, changes to universal credit, having a welfare system that stops people from falling through the cracks. But on the other hand, we are a friend to business. I also want the party to make sure that we are on the side of business, on the side of entrepreneurs. In my manifesto that's released today, I talk about looking at the economy and making it work, particularly for small business. That's not left, that's not right, that's liberal. And core to my 3 pillars of the campaign, and when I came on your show just a few months ago, I spoke about making us the party of education again, talking about the environment. These are 2 very important things, but the 3rd pillar that I've added since then is around the economy. We have huge challenges that our country is going to face over the next months and years. And this is the opportunity to make sure that the economy isn't just measured in terms of growth in GDP, but that we also put other indicators around it like mental health and well-being. So there is another way of having our country thrive, and it's a liberal way, not left, not right.
OK. Now, it hasn't been the smoothest start to your leadership campaign that you could have wished for. You had to delete a tweet which mimicked a Star Wars character that some people thought was racist. You deleted a potentially libelous claim against the Housing Secretary, Robert Jenrick. Figures you collated about children admitted to hospital with malnutrition turned out to be wrong. Do you think some people might be wondering if you've really got the judgment to be a Lib Dem leader?
Well, there are no perfect campaigns. Mistakes have been made on both sides in this leadership election. But what we are also finding is that core message is bringing people towards us. And what I would say, though, is we have to win back trust with the voters. This is the big thing that we need to now do. And we also need to show them that we are credible. Over the last few weeks, I've delivered the coronavirus compensation scheme, cross-party. This is a scheme that helps bereaved families of NHS frontline social care and NHS workers. We need to show people that the point of voting Lib Dem right now is to have someone who can get stuff done for them and their family in a way that's really palpable. I've shown that I have the ability to do that. I've shown that I can get cut through in the media to get that message across at a time when people are wondering where the Lib Dems have gone. This is a really critical moment for our party. And unless we change and unless we move forward together, then I'm seriously concerned about the future of the party. And that's why I'm encouraging people to vote for me. The momentum in this campaign is very much with me. And the last internal poll had me slightly ahead.